What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So we're going to talk about something a little bit different here today. I want to talk about travel. I will be going on a trip very, very soon, and I might even actually be on the trip already. I don't know when I'm going to release this video, but I want to talk a little bit about other options. So I talk a lot about what's going on in Washington, D.C. I talk about financial stuff, and I know you guys get to the point, and some people are looking at what we're talking about and they're struggling and they're saying, look, I'm on a fixed income. I don't have enough money to eat. I don't have enough money for rent. Well, there are other options out there. And you might be asking, well, you're talking about travel. How is that an option? There are a lot of people that are U.S. citizens that live in other countries, or they visit other countries for certain times of the year. Let's say they spend 3 months in another country, or they spend 6 months in another country, or they just move and they become a full-time expat and they leave and they live in another country. Now, it's interesting when you start talking about different countries, because the first thing, before I started traveling, and I've been traveling now for since 2009. And in 2009, before I went on my trip, the first trip that I took was to Colombia. That was outside of the country, other than going on cruises. I've been on cruises before, but that's just going to Mexico, and you go to these real popular tourist destinations, and you don't feel like you're in another country. You feel like you're just in the U.S. somewhere. And so my first trip where I actually got on a plane and flew to another country was to Colombia. And the first thing that I was thinking about before traveling to Colombia, not knowing anything about the country, not knowing anything about travel in general, I was very concerned with, how are things going to be there? Are they going to be like the U.S.? Are they going to have things there like they do in the U.S.? How's the infrastructure going to be? How are the roads? All that stuff. Believe it or not, that's what I was most interested in and most curious about and most fearful of, right? Because these are some of the things that you think about. Is it going to be safe there? How are the people going to greet me? All that kind of stuff. And so I found that when going to Colombia, that being my first trip, I was very, very satisfied with the way things were and the way things still are, because I've been traveling to Colombia since 2009. I've been going at least I won't say once a year. I took a time off, took about 5 years off. I went in 2009, took about 5 years off, and then I started going again. And then I started going every year. And so when it comes down to travel, and I've traveled to a lot of other places too. I've traveled to Paris. I've traveled to Costa Rica. I've traveled to Aruba. I've been around. Okay, so I've been to some different destinations. And one thing that I found in most destinations that I've gone to is it's just like in the U.S. People are speaking a different language, but it's just like the U.S. for the most part. They have all the same amenities. When I was in Costa Rica, believe it or not, they had a Denny's, which I thought was really strange. When I was in Colombia, they had a Papa John's pizza, which I thought was strange. And so some of the things where you think, and I know I'm talking about food, but that's kind of one of those things that you really think about first. Like, okay, are they going to have different places that I, go to eat out here in the U.S.? Are they going to have some of those places out there? Of course, they're going to have McDonald's and Burger King and all these different places. But some of the other places that I was kind of thinking, I don't know if they would have that. They had it there. They had an Applebee's in Costa Rica, an Applebee's. And so what I want to focus on today is I want to focus on the 10 best places to retire in the world. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first off, on this channel, we talk about financial news, travel, and what's going on in Washington, D.C. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. And like always, if you see my name and a picture of me in the comment section, make sure you see a check mark next to my name. That check mark signifies that it's me. If you do not see that check mark, it's not me. It's someone trying to impersonate me. Okay, so I want to take a look at this article, and this is Travel and Leisure. And they do a really good job of talking about these 10 destinations. And so I want to go over them. And some of these places I've been to, and some of these places I have not. Most of them I have not been to, and I will be traveling to some other places. But one of these places I will be traveling to probably either right now you're watching it, or I'll be traveling in a couple of days to this destination. And guess what? I will be there for a whole month. And so I'm going to be showing you some of what this country has to offer, and maybe it will spark an interest in you, and you might think, you know what, I want to go there. I want to see what it's like, And you could get to a point where maybe you can retire there, or maybe you can go and spend 6 months there. And let me come back. Let me talk about this real quick when it comes to spending time there. And think of it this way. I will be going to Colombia, and I will be showing you Colombia. Now, when it comes to Colombia, when it comes to a lot of these countries that are on this list, it's very, very cheap to live there. The cost of living is just amazingly cheap. And I used to tell my friends, and now it's gotten even better. The dollar is even stronger in Colombia. But I used to tell my friends, let's say you bring $1,000 to Colombia, spending money. As soon as you get off that plane, that $1,000 turns into $3,000. Now it's turning into like $4,000. So just think of it along those lines. Let's say you're a person that you're receiving your Social Security, and your Social Security is $15,000 or $12,000 for the year. If you were in Colombia, that $15,000 would be $45,000. That's the equivalent. Okay, and you have to factor in how much rent is and how much everything is. And we're going to go through this list, and they're going to talk a little bit about some of the benefits of living in these different countries as far as the financial benefits. So let's say you didn't live there full time, but let's say you went there for 6 months. A lot of people do this because you don't have to have any special visa to go to a lot of these countries for 6 months. Just having a U.S. passport, that's all you need. You can travel there. They give you a 90-day visa, and then you can renew that visa when you're there. You get another 90 days, so you can have 6 months where you can be in another country, or be in Colombia is one, Costa Rica. There's some countries will allow you to do that, the 6 months. So you get 3 months, then you extend, you get another 3 months, so that's 6 months. And if you work it out right, some people, what they'll do is they'll wait until July. They'll go in July, they'll stay the 6 months, and then the year's up, right? The year's over, and then they can stay another 6 months that following year, right? So some people do that. That way you can stay a full year instead of staying the 6 months. But let's just say you did that. Let's say you went to a country and you stayed there for 6 months, and let's say you had Social Security, you were getting $1,000 a month. And with that $1,000 a month, you were able to get an apartment, which in most situations, most of these countries here, getting an apartment's $200, $300 a month. So you do that, and then you have your $150 for utilities, and usually you can get a lot of these, especially if you go with like Airbnb, you can get some stuff that's already furnished. You don't have to get any furniture or anything like that. And then it's just the cost of going out and buying food and things like that, which for the most part, it's not very expensive. It might be, if you sit down at a restaurant, it's like $5. Okay, and I'm going to show you all this in Colombia. You guys are not going to believe how reasonably priced things are in Colombia. But you sit down for a meal, it's $5, and this is a full course meal. Okay, or if you want to go and go to the grocery store, you can go to the grocery store and buy stuff. It's $20 for 3-4 bags of groceries. So let's go ahead and go back to the list here, and we'll work our way down. Now this is travel and leisure, and they're saying the 10 best places to retire around the world. Okay, and the U.S. is in here. Okay, so just be aware of that. So it's not, you don't have to just be in another country, but they do have one. They do have one city in the U.S. on here. I think it's a city. I think they put it as a city, or maybe it was just a whole state. I don't know, but we're going to work our way through. So the first place here is, actually, did we miss one? No. First place here is Portugal. Okay. Portugal, very, very popular destination. I have not been to Portugal yet, but I do want to go to Portugal. I definitely want to visit Portugal because I hear a lot of good things about Portugal, and it's very reasonable. Okay. It's very reasonably priced. Some of the popular places where expats live is Lisbon and Porto, and that costs about 50% lower than New York. Okay. And living in Porto costs slightly less than Lisbon. So 50% less. So the way that I look at this, New York, we know, is expensive. And if we're talking about in the city. So let's just say rent is $2,000. So if rent is $2,000, 50% of that is $1,000, right? So you're pretty much paying $1,000 a month in Portugal. But Portugal, very, very beautiful country. Like I said, I haven't traveled there yet. I've been really wanting to get out there. I'm going to wait a little bit now just because of the things that are going on in Europe. And I know, Portugal's not right next door, but still, I don't want to be in that region right now. But I do plan in the future to go to Portugal. That's somewhere that I want to go. Another place that I want to go is the Dominican Republic. Okay. So the Dominican Republic, they're comparing this. Now look at this. Santo Domingo is the capital, and that's one of the popular destinations for expats. When I say expats, if you guys don't know, that's just expatriates. So people who are from the U.S. or from either other countries that move to another country and they live there, either full-time or part-time. So Santo Domingo, rent is 90% lower than New York. Okay, 90% lower. So that same $2,000 that I was talking about, $2,000 for renting an apartment, that would be more like $200. Okay, 90% less than New York. So $200 for rent, and let's say it's a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom place. I know in Colombia for a fact I've seen places $300. I have a friend that lives in Colombia. You guys will see her. You'll meet her because she's gonna be on my channel. Now, I want to say this too. I will, and let me come back to the regular screen. I have another channel, Everything David. I will be putting a lot of content on that Everything David channel, but I'm also I want to put some content on this channel as well when it comes to more the retire. If you're interested in retiring, just kind of giving you guys an idea of what these different countries have to offer. So I'll be showing you what Colombia has to offer, just so you guys can see a different option, right? We're still going to be talking about the news. Don't worry. I'm still going to be talking about what's going on in Washington, D.C., but I also want to expose you to this because I think it's very, very important. If you have more options, then you might say, you know what? I'm going to go to another country for 6 months, and I might be able to save money and be in another country, be right by the beach, or be in a nice location, saving money, and then I can come back to the U.S. and stay there for another 6 months, and then go back to another country and stay there for 6 months, and then kind of go back and forth. That's what a lot of people do, and it's very, I mean, for them, it's rejuvenating. So you're not just in one place; you're actually able to go to different places. Okay, so let's get back to our list here. So Dominican Republic, very, very popular destination. Good thing about Dominican Republic, it's an island, so you have water everywhere, and so that's. A lot of people like that. You have the beach life, and it's very, very reasonably priced. A lot of these places, they have what they call a pensionado. Okay, so basically, if you are receiving Social Security or if you have a pension, like I have a pension, you can become a resident there. And what they will look at is they want you to prove that, let's say, and this is Dominican Republic, each country is different, but you need to prove that you're receiving at least $1,500 monthly, and that will qualify you. Okay, with these other things, they're going to do a background check on you. They want you to provide a birth certificate, things like that. So that's pretty much how that would work. You could get a visa. You can stay there for more than 6 months. That's if you want to stay for more than 6 months. Okay, so let's move on. I just want to kind of glance over some of these other places as well. Costa Rica. I've been to Costa Rica. Very, very beautiful country. Pura vida is something, pure life. Everybody says that. Pura vida, pura vida. So it's something. The thing about Costa Rica, now, and I will say, when it comes to Costa Rica, it's a very nice place. It used to be, I'd say 10, 20 years ago, it was the destination for expats. Everybody wanted to go there. Now it's getting more expensive. When I went there, it was not that much cheaper than the U.S. And so even though they're saying here, let's see, I think you can get the pensionado. They have that $1,000, so you have to make or receive at least $1,000. Then they have some other stuff here with pension requires minimum of $60,000 or monthly. So you have some other things here that might disqualify certain people. But I found that it was pretty expensive. That's just my opinion. You see, let's see, San Jose, the cost of living, 83% lower than New York. Okay, so they're saying it's 83% lower. I don't know. I mean, we're talking about in this situation, it would be more the high 300s for an apartment that would cost $2,000 in the U.S. I don't know about those numbers because in my experience in Costa Rica, it was not cheap. Out there, but very, very beautiful. Your water's everywhere. Again, I mean, You have some really nice beach communities, and you have a lot of expats that live in Costa Rica. I ran into a lady when I was there, and this was on my way back. I was at the airport, and she was just telling me that she lives, like, she's an expat. She lives in Costa Rica. She bought a finca there, so a little farm. She turned that farm into like a winery. So she started growing grapes and things like that. And she was just on her way home just because she wanted to receive to go to the doctor, basically. Now, you don't have to do that. They have healthcare. You can get healthcare in these countries, and some of the countries have some really good healthcare. But if you have Medicare already, it's a 2-hour flight to Florida. So she was going to Florida and going to get some medical care there. And then she was headed back to Costa Rica. But yes, very, very beautiful place. And I highly recommend a lot of these places. I recommend just going there, just going on vacation and seeing what's there, right? To see how it is. And depending on where you live, it could be very, very affordable. If you live in Florida, if you live in the South, some of these places you can travel to for very little money, $200, $300. Now, I personally, and I will show you guys this as well, I'm traveling business class to Colombia, and it cost me $85, okay? Business class, round trip ticket. And I will show you how I did this. I use points. I use travel credit card points. I'll show you how I do it, and I'll show you the actual how much I paid and everything in a future video. And so it's doable for anyone. Anyone can travel. Anyone can afford to travel. You just need a passport. Okay, let's move down here. Ecuador. Now, I haven't been to Ecuador. I have some friends that have traveled there, and I watch a lot of travel videos. And one of my buddies, Ace Live, he has some really good content. He did a lot of content in Ecuador, and I want to go. I definitely want to go to Ecuador, but this is another country where you have a lot of expats that live in Ecuador. Okay. Let's see the New York comparison here. Cost of living, 66% less expensive than New York, and then 88% lower as far as rent, 88%. Okay. So we're looking at, like I said, if it's a $2,000 apartment in New York, then we're looking more at around $320 or so dollars, right? Or actually, no, 200, high 200s. So that's what you're looking at if you were to rent a place in Ecuador. All right, let's move down. Mexico. Now, like I said, I went on cruises to Mexico. I've never really been in the heart of Mexico, so I can't really speak on that. I was just in the tourist areas, but that's probably the most common place for a lot of people, especially if you live in Texas, California, Arizona. We're right on the border. We can just go into to Mexico. But I personally, because it's so close and so similar in my mind, I would want to travel somewhere else. I want to kind of feel like I am in another country. And I've been to certain parts of parts of Mexico that I've been to. It's just like the U.S. All right, so here we go. Colombia. All right, so you guys are going to see a lot of Colombia. I'll be there for a whole month, and I will be there for Carnival. I will be photographing Carnival. If you guys don't know, I am a professional photographer, so I will be out there on the street taking pictures of the parade and all that stuff. At least I hope. I got a pass the last time. I got a press pass the last time, but because of the things that have been going on in the last couple of years, actually, I didn't go last year because of, the thing that went on last year and the year before last, but I was able to go. I actually was able to go in 2020. I had a press pass in 2020, but they didn't open it up for press passes this time. So the talk is what they're saying. They're saying that they're just going to, whoever got a press pass last time would be able to get a press pass this time. We're going to have to see. One of the things that you'll find out in Colombia is they're laid back. There's no real schedules. They're like in the US, we're big on time. You need to be on time and scheduling and all that stuff. Colombia is completely different. Everything starts late. There's really no schedule when it comes down to a lot of this stuff. And so we'll have to see if I get my press pass. But nonetheless, I'm going to be at Carnival anyway. We're going to be headed out there. So let's see. As far as Bogota is concerned, Bogota is the capital of Colombia. It's 72% lower than New York, the cost of living. And then rent is 88% lower than New York. Okay. So it's pretty much the same as, what was that? I can't remember where we were. I think it was Mexico or Ecuador. Maybe it was Ecuador. So Colombia, they're saying rent's about the same. Now I can tell you for a fact, and like I said, I have a friend that lives there, and she was in Bogota, and she was living. They were paying $350 for a house. It was a 3-bedroom house, and so I know that can get you. And that's a major. Bogota's the capital, so it's a big city. Especially if you go to some of these smaller cities, you can get places for a lot less than that. So the last place here is the U.S. Okay, and I think Florida. Okay, so Florida is where they're talking about in the U.S. as far as a place that's affordable and a lot of people retire to, which we know people retire to Florida, so that's no surprise. So Colombia, that's where I'll be going, and I'll be showing you guys a lot of stuff from Colombia. And like I said, I want you guys to start thinking, if you guys have the opportunity to go to another country, to travel to another country and see how it is, maybe you might like it and say, you know what, I'm going to spend some time there and I'm going to save money while I'm there. There are a lot of people that are doing that. There are a lot of YouTubers that are doing that. I've run across a few different channels, and I plan to do some videos, some reaction videos to some of these travelers or some of these expats that are living in other countries, because I find it fascinating. And if I can meet up with any expats that are in another country, if you guys are watching this video right now, reach out to me, because I do want to do some interviews, and I want to do these interviews of people who have moved from the U.S. and are now living in Colombia. I just think it's just fascinating to me. I was listening to this one person on YouTube talking about living in Colombia, and what he is doing is really, really genius. What he's doing is he is renting a place. He rents it year round, but he only stays there for 6 months out of the year. And so the other 6 months, he rents it out as an Airbnb. So, and he got permission from the person that he's renting from. And so he'll stay there for 6 months. And what he says he does is he stays there 2 months at a time, because he still has family in the U.S. So he'll stay there for 2 months. Then he'll go home. He'll rent it out as an Airbnb for that 2 months that he's not there. And then he'll come back for 2 months. And then he'll go back home. He'll rent it out as an Airbnb for 2 months. And he says it's a wash. So the money that he spends in Colombia, he makes that back using it as an Airbnb and renting it out to other people. And so I just found that fascinating, because now he's in a situation where he's receiving his Social Security and his pension, but he's not using any money. He's actually making money because he has it rented out as an Airbnb. And all he did was he went to Colombia. He's been there for 5 years, off and on 5 years, going back and forth. But he's been doing that, and he's actually, it's a little business for him. He's making money, and he's able to stay in Colombia and then keep his Social Security. He doesn't have to spend it. So that's another thing that you can think about. And this is something that anyone can do, right? So anyway, I will be doing more videos about this. I really want to start exposing people to other countries. I like I said, I'm very fascinated with other countries and how people do things in other countries. And what fascinates me the most is how reasonably priced everything is. I'm telling you, it's just it blew my mind, and I'm sure it'll blow your mind as well. So if you guys have any questions, post them down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.